here. Saying that he was Deerfield and
Better.
he actually got the notice.
So I-
Junior.
20, mark the meeting, please, with just a moment of silence to consider the solemnity of the occasion. And then I guess if we call it to order, we want to do
Yes,
the roll call.
okay, Mayor Sean Reardon. City Council President and Cameron. James Conley,
Present.
Karen Cullinan,
Present.
Kristen Donahue. Gary Gorski.
Here.
Christian Hansen.
Here.
Sarah Holden. Caroline McCarthy.
Here.
Stephen Moore.
Here.
Sarah Spalding. Madeline Whitten.
Here.
So I guess is the republic comment we have tonight from anybody? No one wants to say anything? There's no public comment tonight. So we could go to the approval of the previous meeting minutes.
Gary supplied his edits. And I've made adjustments. There was one suggestion that he made that I wanted to bring forward. It regarded under volunteer program development. Gary suggested that we add under where it says proposal to union. It just said proposal to union, didn't say anything else. Gary suggested adding more detail. I have, I can very easily add the text of what I sent to the union, just in quotation marks. And if that's, it literally was what, I'll just pass that. It's what Christian had, and I had worked out and then sent to the union.
What section is that?
That's under volunteer program development. It was, I think,
Yeah,
yeah, where it just says
Section F.
proposal to,
Okay.
yeah.
Subsection one.
And Kevin, I wasn't thinking it necessarily needed to have verbatim all the text, like even just like a summary that.
Yeah.
Christian had proposed some language asking the union to.
Yeah, that would be simple enough.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just didn't know if they wanted just it was a very short text.
so we're just actually talking what the proposal to the union was.
Yes,
I had the same question, I wonder what it was, but I did.
Yeah.
So that
So-
makes sense to me.
if I could just put a very simple 2-sentence summary, or I can just put the text with whatever you would prefer.
Why don't you just quickly tell us what it is and we can vote on it?
Oh,
Yeah.
Gary has it.
The library will collect a list of self-identified local historians and history buffs who like to conduct research in particular focus areas. They would love to help guide patrons through their local history research projects. The library would not make any warranties or guarantees of their knowledge, level of expertise, quality of service. Those on the list would not have any special titles or designations. They would act in the capacity of patrons assisting patrons.
It sounds innocuous, but denied, I guess.
Yeah.
So is there a motion to accept the minutes as amended?
So moved.
Second, anybody? Second. All in
So
favor?
Christian and Steve seconded.
You think we need a roll call? Or can we just agree?
Actually, we're not hybrid, so we can just,
Anybody opposed to that? Great, thank you.
okay.
So I guess that was allowed. And then we've got a meeting scheduled for the next. We want to talk about the executive session minutes? Kevin?
Oh, yes, as the individual designated by the board to review the minutes. I have reviewed the minutes as they were prepared and I recommend their approval.
So do we vote on that?
Yes.
Is there a motion to accept? Anybody?
Motion to accept.
Is there a second?
Second.
Everybody in favor? Anybody opposed? Okay. And then we go to the meeting schedule for next.
Yes. Right.
session.
There is only one minor modification that, the schedule follows the same format. It's every third, Wednesday. There was one slight request for modification in February. Is it, the third Wednesday, right in the middle of school vacation week? And I thought it might if the board thought it might be a good idea just to move it to the fourth week that month. But every other meeting would follow the same format that we do already.
We need to vote on that.
Yes,
So, the motion to approve,
Motion to approve.
Give a second,
Second.
everybody in favor,
Aye.
anybody opposed? Okay,
all right.
and the next meeting date, I guess, is September 11th.
September 18th, sorry,
Oh, it's wrong.
I'm updated that on the agenda that I sent out.
Thank you.
Okay,
Kevin, I will not be at that meeting.
on the 18th,
Yes.
okay,
Okay, do you want to go over the strategic plan?
Sure. 2 weeks ago, I sent out the three components. The first one for your consideration is the community and library profiles. As I was reviewing it today, I recognized that we have the FY 24 library data, so I added it in. I changed, so if you had a concern about it showing FY 23 data and it might be old, I inserted, essentially just took the FY 23 numbers, replaced them with the FY 24 numbers. So,
So I had listed under volunteer hours,
that I
747,000.
I don't, not quite sure how that number got there.
I thought it was a little high.
Yeah, FY 24, that statistic is removed.
Okay.
Because there were no hours. Volunteer hours in FY 24, so that whole,
Any idea where the number came? I mean,
I don't know. This document was handled a couple different times by a few different people, and then all of a sudden I saw that today. I was like, wow, that was a lot of volunteer hours. Like, I'm not sure where that came from.
I don't think in the
Yeah.
entire history of.
No.
volunteer would be that.
Yeah.
This is all like each doing an hour, so that's a lot of hours right here.
I don't think we could.
So-
do this long.
Oh, I love her.
So, just if you want, I can go through the different numbers, but it'll be part of the annual report in September. I will say, as I was looking through them, almost every single statistic except for card borrowers, the number of borrowers was up by between 2% and 5% over last year.
Good.
So,
Who are the four libraries who outrank us?
I'm gonna say Chelmsford.
Yep. I assume
Andover, Chelmsford, probably Billerica, and I'm trying to think maybe Burlington.
Okay.
Yeah.
Not Haverhill. Well, all right.
I'm thinking, I'd have to check, but I
Okay.
think those are the largest libraries.
I thought it was interesting that they do it per hour opened and not per capita. But
I
I
guess they
thought
look-
maybe the
yeah.
hours open is based on the capita. I don't know.
No, I think they look at it as that was more of a busyness.
Okay.
Yeah, because if, if you have more books or items taken out per hour, it shows how many people are actually coming in.
Okay.
And just a side fact, in information I'm preparing for Kim Turner, we found out that 400 people a day come to the library. Just looking at simple statistics over the year, so that I'm gathering some usage data for her, and I just thought that was really neat. It's like 400 people. That's pretty good.
I saw an ambulance outside today.
Oh, I know.
We had a busy day.
We did. We had the police this evening, the fire this morning. There was someone fell upstairs in the reference room. And then there was an incident somewhere else in the city, and the police kind of tracked the person here.
Oh, my goodness,
So it's
it's exciting. Yeah.
it's an exciting place.
Who knew?
So this community and library profile is considered an appendix, and it will be it'll follow the actual plan part. I think it's the first appendix, it'll be Appendix A, I think. So are there any I will hold off on any editing because Gary has been a little busy. So he'll get a chance to do some review of the components from an editorial perspective, but from a content perspective.
Looked okay to me.
Yeah, would it be possible when it's fixed, corrected, just to send us all another copy of it?
Sure.
It's really a nice document. Yeah. It's good.
Okay, all right, then we'll need a motion to approve.
So moved,
Jim as second.
everybody in favor? Anybody opposed?
All right, okay. We'll have that component approved. Okay. On to the next component is the draft goals and objectives. The basic premise behind these, they're meant to be broad and they're meant to be inspirational. They're not meant to be, there's not supposed to be any, I'm forgetting the adjective, but specific.
Are they in any order? Is
They,
goal one the most important goal?
no.
Okay.
They are not in any particular order. So,
So my question is, I have trouble with this because I like to deal with nuts and bolts, and this is not nuts and bolts.
correct, it's not meant to be.
And
Yeah.
so is there something else coming that we haven't seen yet that
Yes.
is more nuts and bolts?
What, actually, what will come in October or November will be the action plan for FY 26. And that will include specific tactics that will fall under each of the objectives. That every department in the library, well, every service department will come up with some tactics that they're going to try to achieve. And so the board will see that before it's submitted to the Massachusetts Board of Library Commissioners in December.
I thought we were approving the final thing in September.
Well, the strategic plan doesn't have to include an action plan. All the strategic plan has to include is the goals and objectives, the mission statement, vision statements, and how you went about the process. The action plans, they're meant to be done afterwards because the plan is meant to be aspirational and flexible. So if we put something in there, you know, say, put tactics for all 4 years. Lesson learned from the pandemic is that we never, these plans are meant to be flexible, so the action plans are done separately.
So if you included them in September, then we would be bound to do them. Is that?
Pretty much, and it makes it, makes it easier for the library to adapt to the different situations if you do an action plan as the years go. So the board will see the action plan, but it'll be done in October, November-ish. So you'll see what we're hoping to actually specifically do to meet these goals.
I like the goals. I think they're broad, I think they address, some pertinent flagpoles. I like them. I think they are aspirational. Even if they do lack nuts and bolts, I think they're okay.
As long as we're gonna see the nuts and bolts.
Yes,
right.
Yeah, it was all part of the action plan and that will, like I said, in October, November, you'll be presenting it to you. Before we submit it to.
In that case, I'm fine with it.
Okay.
It's sufficiently big.
Aspirational, Steve. So, again, we'll need a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second. Everybody in favor? Anybody opposed?
Okay. But, all right, so the last component is, it's just it's essentially what they call the methodology. It's what did we do to get the information that we have? and how did we go about getting it? So it's just a pretty straightforward document, but again, I present it to you. Are there any thoughts, questions?
Are we gonna see a summary of that, something to go,
Uh, of the planning process?
of, you know, the results of all those surveys?
Oh, yes, those will be those, Barbara has, been finalizing and making them look pretty. And then they'll be part of the appendices. But they're not, they don't really need to be approved because they're just data.
This doesn't call for a vote, then.
Yeah, actually, this
Okay.
does, because it's a required component.
Right.
Motion to approve.
Second. Everybody in favor?
They're really looking.
Okay. All right.
Just me. Your title is yours.
Hey,
We don't have to find click over there.
I'm just gonna briefly talk about the timeline, wow, we went through this very fast. Okay, the final draft, we're gonna finish the final draft by August 6th. At that time, I will email it to Gary to get some, give him a chance to kind of go through, do any editing. It's also going to be reviewed by Barbara. She's also going to put it through some, I get, she uses Grammarly Pro, so she's going to put it through Grammarly Pro just to, again, catch anything, see if that, and it's good to have the human and the, and then once those, once I kind of get the feedback from both of those kind of reviews, I will submit it to all of you. The goal is by the 15th, so that you'll have a month. What I ask during that time is to review the plan. If anything sticks out like a sore thumb, like you're going, wait a second, I thought we approved X and I see Y, what's the deal? Let me know. Or something just doesn't jive right, let me know. We can make some, edits and revisions. And again, just resend it out to everybody once those are made. But on the 18th, at that meeting, essentially, the one component, the rest of the stuff that you haven't approved yet is window dressing. It's not required, it's just makes the plan look nice. A nice introduction that I've borrowed from Giselle. I've slightly modified it, but Giselle wrote a very nice introduction. Why change it?
Right.
Yeah. So those that you'll see those things and you might go, oh, I saw that from the last plan. Well, yes. But it's just something nice to, to have, because again, if someone's reading it for the first time or never read the previous plans, it does talk a little bit about the library and its place in the community. So Giselle wrote really nice introductions, so I'm not going to tweak it that much. So you'll get everything, all of the appendices, all the approved components that you've already been approved, and then the introduction, all just in a nice package on the 15th of August.
And this is something we're submitting to the MBLC.
Yes. MB.
And does the MBLC?
Yeah.
No, and so, but they have we have to fulfill their expectations in several ways to be a part of the MBLC as well. Or is that all fantasy? I've heard a lot of stuff,
There's-
people granting waivers and people.
There are best practices and
Okay.
policies that the MVLC has for just general operations of our consortium.
I thought there was like spending requirements.
Yeah,
hours
that's MB.
That's the B, okay.
Yeah, B is in Baker for the, yeah.
Got it.
The MBLC is the state regulatory board for libraries across the state.
Yeah.
All libraries, not just public libraries.
Right.
So they're the ones who check to make sure that we're open a certain number of hours, et cetera. So
So what do we have to do to be in the consortium? Do we pay a fee?
Yes.
Okay, okay.
We agree to a certain governance document. We agree to try to adhere to best practices. We agree to pay our annual e-content assessment and operational assessment. But,
And that's, okay, okay.
and I'm on the executive board, so I kind
Oh,
of have
that's
a,
it.
yeah,
Yeah.
so I get my chance to be on a board. So, if there aren't any questions about the timeline, I'm gonna move on to the last item on our agenda. Had a conversation with Jim, and, he brought up a really good idea. Jim said, why can't we have tours for library board of director members? Meet the staff, see the library, have an opportunity to ask questions, to learn, get a deeper sense of, deeper understanding of what we do, how we do it, and how we do it in this building. So what I want to offer everyone here is the opportunity. We can do it individually. If we do it in a group, I'd like to keep it around 2 or 3 at the most, just for ease of movement around the building. But essentially, it was, I'll take you on a tour of the underbelly. You'll see the mechanical room and all the things that, and then just see all the behind the scenes things of, where we do, how we do it. You'll get a chance to meet the staff that are present when you come. They'll get a chance to, meet you. And just so that as you come in the building for other reasons, they'll recognize you a little bit more. Again, just it's an opportunity just for you to know how we do things and do them, and how this building functions. Jessica and I will be the ones leading you around, because I've been here for 8 months. Jessica has been here for years. So there are questions that she'll be able to answer better than I can. But it's just, again, an opportunity to ask us questions, and to, as we're going through different spaces, go, oh, so that's what you're trying to get replaced. Oh, yes, that's what we're trying to get replaced. All of those massive boilers and, oh, and that's why the building flooded. Yes, that sump pump is why the building flooded, so those type of things. So you feel a little bit easier. And
Speaking of flooding, the most recent incident, I thought we had installed alarms and monitoring and
yes.
things so that wouldn't happen.
Yes, that was the plan, and had been installed, but they failed.
Okay.
So, there had been a monthly checking of, or a kind of a daily checking of the sump pump system, but never really a checking of the alarm system. So what happened was this is a relatively new alarm system. They thought, okay, it should function, should work as it's supposed to. Well, it didn't. So now, the DPS staff that are assigned to the building, on a weekly basis, they fill the sump well and try to force it to have the alarms go off. And then if the alarms don't go off, then they call Weston Sampson in to fix the problem.
So where is the water coming from?
Oh, when they designed the building, all of the water from the building goes into that sump well. It was a design flaw. Typically, the only water that is below grade is the bathroom outside of archives. That's literally, according to, that's really should be the only thing that goes into that, but the entire building goes into that. And unfortunately, because things get flushed that shouldn't, there are these baffles that are meant to, as the water rises, to go up and then activate the pumps. Well, if you've got something that wasn't supposed to be flushed and you ask the DPW and they give you any list of things that have stopped those baffles from going up, they'll just fill up. So they literally fish stuff out of there on a regular basis so that the baffles will move.
Well, that's not my job.
Yeah, but it's just, when they designed the building, I don't know why they designed it that way, but it literally, all the other water could have gone right into the sewer line without going into the sump well.
Is there any way to make that happen?
It would be a major redesign of the plumbing in the,
But it might be worth it.
Yeah.
It'd be nice to get an estimate, see how much it would be, because
yeah,
we don't really want the archival center flooding.
yes, I can throw that out as a potential CIP. But, I will see, I will talk to Wayne Amaral, head of DPS. And see if that's something that he thinks would be a viable thing to try to get. Because right now we're trying to get the HVAC system replaced, and that's, I'm just starting work on that. So, they have in, you know, the processes in place now, where they're going in on a weekly basis.
Yeah.
So if they weren't doing that before, they're doing it now. And Wayne is pretty confident that doing it on a weekly basis, they'll be able to catch it if it starts to fail again. So.
Be nice if they did it on Fridays, so that you don't have a weekend of
Well,
floods.
that's actually, it happened on a Friday. And because it had happened in the morning, it was just, all of the water from the previous day had already been flushed through, so it was just water that had been accumulated overnight. And the HVAC system dumps about 30 gallons of water when it does its daily kind of condensation dump. So there was a failure with the pumps because something didn't, John had gone in and fished out whatever was in there, but the pumps didn't kick on. And then the alarms didn't kick on. It literally happened between 7 AM and 8:45. And John Hewitt was like, I'm in there 7 o'clock. It was dry. I come in at 8:30 and someone, you know, comes up from the basement and says, there's water on the floor. I'm like, what? So. Luckily, I mean, it was caught. And there was minimal damage.
I think it would be cheaper to just relocate the archival center versus doing a whole plumbing.
Well,
I mean, because if it's regularly flooding, and I've been on the board for 6 years now,
But they're
and we have like,
using that dense shelving, you have to put it in a basement.
yeah, and it's also there's
uh,
the
Because
whole
also-
room has been designed with special climate control systems. That, in addition to moving all this up, again, it's not that it can't be done. It would be a major CIP item to relocate it, because you have to have the climate controls in another part of the building.
yeah, I guess, I mean, there's been at least 5 incidents of flooding over the past 5 years,
Wow.
right? And luckily, you know, things have not got ruined, but like,
Somehow or other, we went for years without it.
it's guaranteed that it'll flood again, right? So,
Let me just, I'll have a chat with Wayne just to address your concerns and see what he thinks.
But what seems to me like there's one pipe going into this sump, you just redirect it out under the street to the sewer.
Unfortunately, it's not just one. It's all, Well,
But they could be
yeah.
combined perhaps.
and again, I'm not a pipe fitter or a plumber, so I'm gonna have to. check with
It's not
Wayne.
gonna be a minor task.
No,
but
no.
It might be worth
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, because we would still have to do the basement bathroom into the sump well. And it would be the HVAC condensation dump would have to be rerouted with the rest of the building, so that I'll talk to Wayne about it. I'll see if it's something that he thinks would be something that we could investigate further.
So I mean, I'm not sure I have a whole lot of confidence in the process that's taking place now. You know, once a week is fine, but like you say, if on a Sunday morning, that same thing happens, and nobody's gonna find about it.
Yeah, that's
Couple
true.
hours. You want to pay someone to come in on Sunday.
And there's no automated test of the system, like the manufacturer doesn't provide
Uh,
a line test.
I'd have to confirm it, but from what I understand they'll come in if there's an issue. We could pay them to have a service contract. So right now, DPS is trying to see if instead of spending an inordinate amount of money to have the service contract with them, in addition to the other service contracts we have, they want to see if this testing on a weekly basis will suffice. But again, you're making some very good, points here. I was, in the conversation with Wayne, it seemed reasonable with his, from his perspective, but I will, talk with him and see if there's, if we can look at the CIP project to, to what it would take to reroute. And not have everything go into the sump well. So. Because right now, the way you described it, the only thing that would have to is what's below grade, and that's just that one bathroom. So everything else is above grade, so it could conceivably go.
Close that bathroom.
Well, all those folks who guys have no bathroom to go to. Let's see. Okay, so I'll. Yeah, see if there's what he would think it would take. Okay, I don't have anything further.
I just had that one question in terms of this, these people keep wanting to see a list of the items that were removed from the archives. And I think Kevin's thought is that's kind of a waste of library resources. He doesn't really want to spend the time to do that unless the board tells him he should do it. So I don't know if the board has any feelings about that one way or the other.
I will say it's also an operational thing. If we supply a list of items that we remove, we then create a precedent. Anyone can then say, well, I'd like to know all the fiction books that you're removing, and I'd like to approve. We follow the process of weeding and de-ascensioning based on our knowledge and expertise of our collections. And, if we were to open it up to a committee of 18,000, we would not be able to do the work that we do. It opens us up to having every single item that we remove to be questioned. And I just think it's not a precedent that we want to set, that operational aspects of the library be opened up to, scrutiny like that, at that level. Policies, yes, programs that we develop, volunteer programs, understandable. But scrutinizing to that level, it's going to make a logjam, and it's going to make doing our jobs very difficult. We literally remove thousands of items we add and remove thousands of items in a year. And if we are now having to have a committee of 18,000 look and approve that. I mean, I know I'm hyperbole, I know 18,000 people are not going to want to, but that's the realm of possibility from one person to 18,000. Going, hey, why are you removing this? Well, we're not gonna be able to do our job efficiently and effectively. So I just think it's a bad precedent.
So any comments from the board?
Well, I think the specific request is only for the archive stuff. And
That is true, but again, if we're going to open up for any collection, those who may not understand the rationale for why we remove things, again, do we have the public scrutinize and second guess our removal of items based on, questioning the expertise and the professionalism that we have and the way in which we've been maintaining the collection? Do we open that up to the public? I'm just concerned about the precedent. I understand that there are people who are concerned about me throwing archives out the back door. But there are specific reasons for these to be removed. And the reason we're removing them, it should not be up for scrutiny. I mean, if you, the board, want to, be engaged in collection development and management, again, there's a lot of items that we remove.
We
And
have
a
a
lot
lot of lists, if you'd like them.
But that's the extent that you're the governance. Your role is making sure we do our job well. If you want to go to that level so that you can tell the public that we're removing items well, that's a lot of work. You delegate that to me and I delegate that to professionals who have degrees and experience in this. I think if we start opening in that, it questions the expertise and knowledge of the staff that we hire and the staff that I supervise. And I think it sets a bad precedent.
I 100% agree. And it seems to me like it's public information what you have. And if I am not on this board, if I'm a taxpayer and I call and say, do you have XYZ book? You would happily tell me whether or not you had XYZ book. So if people have concern about particular titles, they could pursue that as a patron, right? I mean, there's no reason, there's no secret collection that
Yeah.
well, I guess I wouldn't know if it was secret, but so it's not like you're withholding information, it's that you're not producing, I don't know, charts or something.
Yeah.
But I could call with a list of, in fact, people do call with a list of 10, do you have any of these 10 books?
Yeah.
Right, and that's part of the job of being a librarian, right? That's what you do.
Some of the issues that we run into is that many of the items downstairs were not cataloged.
Okay,
And so there's a question of an uncatalogued item, whether it's still there.
Right.
The amount of items that Sally and Dana and Sia have cataloged in the past 8 months is phenomenal. They're working to make everything accessible in the catalog so that there is no question.
how many are left in the catalog? Any idea?
Thousands.
Yeah,
Some
a lot
of
of
them,
stuff
and
is
some items were put in the catalog with incorrect information or insufficient information. So those items have to be recatalogued. So there's this process that we're trying to go through. And it,
I guess my only issue is we have an individual who is demanding.
But doesn't he have a particular question? Couldn't he ask a particular
Well,
question?
he asked many particular questions. And if there's a way to perhaps explain in a way that he will be satisfied what the process is. And
I,
I.
what I've learned from this
Can I put you on
individual,
thought- Just a follow thought on that, but I think your explanation was reasonable and logical. And I guess I was wondering, is there a way to communicate that out in a broader way, not just here to us as the board, but to the public some way? And not specifically to any individual in the community? And I don't know
Yeah.
if like a part of the website would be an avenue for you to address questions that come up like this, or a column in the Daily News perhaps?
um. I mean. I guess, it, again, it's just,
I bring it up
Yeah.
because it seems like there's some people in the community, there's a communication gap, right?
right,
Well, they don't like the answer they get.
That's some people, like that's this particular flashpoint that we're dealing with, but I think there are probably others in the community that could benefit from learning more about how the library operates.
And I think follow up here also that a single line on the website that just says collection is maintained by, experienced and, vetted librarians.
We
Because we're not going to the arborist and saying, you shouldn't cut down this tree, or you know what, you shouldn't put that line on the street right here. We elect and appoint and approve public servants to do that on behalf and show their expertise. I don't think that there's any way that we should
Yeah.
dictate what's released or not released and follow up. I completely
In-
100% support you on that.
there is. And maybe there need, on our website, we have our collection development policy. Do we have a summary?
Actually,
staff
send
is-
that individual
Yeah.
those collection
Okay.
policies.
It
Right.
does, it has a summary. You guys all approved it, but it was a long time ago.
Yeah.
So I 100% could understand why it doesn't maybe come to mind, and it's certainly part of like the general policies
Yeah.
page.
So
Part of it
in
could
the
be
collection
pulled out.
development policy, we talk about removing. items.
Yes,
Very explicit.
Yeah.
And there's a
Okay.
separate one for the removal of items in the archives,
Yeah.
which has to have Kevin's approval.
yeah, literally before
Oh,
anyone walks out
really?
the
Yeah.
door, I have to approve it.
Wow.
That's on the website.
So this is all your fault.
I mean, and I'll be very transparent at this moment. I asked, I looked at the items. I recognized that, I mean, the information I sent Jim, there was a large percentage of them did not fit
Mm.
the collection's scope.
Yeah.
My favorite one that I pull out all the time is, that was pulled out was Flowers of South America. It's down in archives. Archives is Newburyport history and items that support the ability to do research about Newburyport and its, historical figures. It has nothing to do with the flowers of South America. But previous archival administration accepted that book as a donation and put it into the collection. That's my example of some things. Oh, there was a book that was removed because, and this was one of the ones that was damaged beyond repair. The book had been rebound so many times that if it went for rebinding again, the binding was going to cut into the text of the book. So it had to be removed. It's just, it's not usable. So and previous administration of, archive management kept 4th and 5th copies of items that existed in archives. These were not, super sensitive material, but we were holding on to 4th and 5th copies when we didn't need to. If we have a backup and a backup to the backup, we're more than covered. we have limited space down there, so. You know, in the attempt to organize the room and to make it accessible, we had to pull out. Things and actually the things had been pulled out. Prior to Dana starting there. They had all been on a cart. And set on the weeding cart. And Dana found the cart and said, okay, I kind of agree with these. So, okay, and I said, all right, you know, why are they being removed? And she explained. Why they needed to be removed, what was the purpose and what was the rationale, and so I approved them. So Dana wasn't the one that collected them and put them on the weeding cart. They had been put on that weeding cart by previous archive management.
So an item that's beyond repair. And we want to get rid of it because of that. Is there another copy available somewhere in the consortium? Or,
Well, it depends on the item. I don't think that we removed anything that we didn't have another copy of. So.
I guess the big
Unless it
concern would
was-
be is that
there-
an original document. there's no
There
other
were a
copy.
couple original documents that were removed that did not have copies. The decision was made that because they had mold on them, that there was no possibility to keep them because they could be dangerous and impact other
Yeah.
items in the collection.
could they be digitized? So they're still available?
We didn't even want to keep them in the library that long, like it gets everywhere, like you open them up and just are exposed to the mold and that can travel to other documents. So if we were to put it on top of scanners that were then putting other things on top of scanners, it's almost not worth the risk because we could potentially hurt our other collection.
But that's a rare case.
Very rare.
I mean, a couple items, I mean, we had, you know, vital records for New Jersey. Vital records for Rhode Island. I mean, that's not. It's not, you know, it's not in our scope.
Do you have any record of how, if those documents were ever being used? And there are access.
We don't keep that kind of record.
Yeah.
We don't check out items
Right.
on there, so.
If, you know, if an original, it would have to be a very rare case. It's not, this is. Dana is going through that collection very carefully. And working to make sure that, stuff that's been in the storage room, unprocessed and uncatalogued, is being able to be accessible. And so there's, you know, care is being taken. I asked her to pull out the 2017, 2018 Northeast Document Center. They did, the library spent about $10,000 on this report. And a lot of what they've recommended is still valid. So I've asked Dana to make sure that she is, you know, those are her best practices, that she follows those. So she's utilizing the industry standard to process and maintain everything down there. So it's, I mean, and I also, what I sent you the other day, or yeah, I would think it was yesterday, I said, I was there when she did it for, you know, when she helped another patron. And I was astonished because the patron asked for information and I'm sitting there going, I have no idea where to start. Within seconds, Dana's like, oh, wait a second, let me go out back and grab something. And she brought it out and it was exactly what the gentleman was looking for. He wanted to know the name of the streetcar railroad that ran through Newburyport in 1910. Dana knew exactly where it was. He brought it right out and solved, gave him that information. I mean, this is the type of caliber of person that's down there is, I mean, she knows what she's doing and she does a really good job. So I mean, the decisions that are being made are are good ones. And she, if she's got a question, well, I mean, I have not approved any other removal of items. From that 287. So. That's it, that's all that's been removed.
I would just like to stop getting emails from this individual.
I would too.
If we can somehow satisfy him,
I
and I'm not sure that's possible.
I don't think so either.
Steve, every other department in this city gets emails from Walt. And no one has found a way to satisfy or appease him. Okay,
Done.
yeah, I believe me, if there was a way, I mean, I apologize because I stopped feeding him, he stopped emailing me. And unfortunately now sends them to Jim. So I'm sorry, Jim. I just,
Start charging them your rate.
he wasn't getting traction with me. And I felt, felt it wasn't my place to give him the information he was looking for.
And you've provided that, is it once a week, you're like 1 to 2,
Mhm.
like, I feel like that's.
Yeah.
You're offering the time for people to come and ask you questions, like that's.
Lately, it's just been Jessica and I having our kind of a weekly meeting. Because, because when I first started it, there will be a couple of Tuesdays where we got like 4 or 5 people. Then we got nobody for a while. And then Walt came like once or twice. And then now we're in a period again where Jessica and I are just we're just having a weekly meeting for an hour. So, I'm willing to continue to do it. I probably will cut down on the number of times we do it per month. Just because it's, Jessica and I, we have other things to do, and sometimes we're limited by what we can do when we're sitting in the conference room. So, it's a valuable thing, and I'll continue to do it, just not at the frequency.
I guess just along those lines, I would wonder if there are other things you could do. In addition, complementary.
Yeah, no, I don't. I have been
I don't have an
toying,
idea
I've been
specifically.
toying with the idea. I have been, it just, right now, just throwing something out there, I'm not at the. I haven't been here long enough and don't have I feel like this, I don't have the Giselle Stevens cachet to be able to say something, in an article in the Daily News. And I don't want to open the library up for,
Yeah, I think I'll be looking for trouble.
Yeah.
I guess I'm thinking, I think like the Amesbury Police have a column every once in a while, and it's kind of more just positive stories, right? And I'm just wondering if, a library could be more public facing by having something to appear in the Daily News, for example.
I will say that we do submit stuff to them regularly. And well, yeah, the type of stuff that we submit competes with, West Newbury and Newbury and Amesbury and Salisbury for their library programs. But I will consider it. See if there's something that we could do that would be on a regular basis, so it's not like it, just shows up once in a while. But again, I just hesitated because I'm new to the community, I'm new to this position. I didn't want to open, up something that that I didn't want to, I guess, open up a can of worms that I unintentionally opened up. Given the current situation that we're in.
So along those lines, are there things that we can do as the board to help you and the staff?
Yes. When people ask you questions, like, how, let people know. I mean, we've got really talented people. I mean, these people have been, many of them have been here for years. You know, and if they have questions about. You know, why does the library do what it does? Well, you know, if you don't have the answer. You know, have them email me, and if it's a question that I'm, you know, like, you know, what do you, you know. Why did, you know, why is it that I can't find such and such on the shelf? Well, you know, 35 other libraries have it. Our copy was removed. You know, we didn't feel it was something, you know, simple questions like that. You know, you know, I'm happy to have people understand about the library, how we do what we do. I just, you know, don't want to open up. Yeah. When you're, you know, when you're in a situation and someone starts talking about the library and they have a situation that it didn't go well, have them talk to me. Or, you know, we may not have known. You know, I would rather talk to someone and have them understand how we do what we do and why we do what we do and make them feel better about their experience. And we had an instance where a nanny came and was not able to get cards for her charges. The children she cared for. She got upset, couldn't understand. And unfortunately, it kind of got a little too much traction. But Allison was able to finally talk to the person because Allison had been out that day. Allison talked to her and she completely understood. And she's like, oh, thank you for the explanation. You know, refer, you know, say, you know, the library staff are happy to talk to you about such and such. You know, help you to understand. Because I mean, we all want people to have a positive experience when they come here, or at least understand why they can't get what they get. So whenever possible, advocate for us as well. You know, if someone, you know, talks negatively about the library, ask them, you know, you know, where did you hear that? How did you find out about that? Why, you know, did you know that the library actually does this? You know, help people understand what we do and how we do it. And that's why I'll be glad to walk you around the library and kind of give you a little better understanding. Just we don't have a lot of time at these board meetings to do a lot of this. And sometimes some pumps don't come up in conversation. So.
Do you want us to,
Yeah, sorry, is this one of your employees here? I think we should-
Yes,
Should we meet her?
Yeah,
Kristen, please say hello to the board.
Kristen's the best.
Kristen Young is our teen librarian. She came to us from West Newbury. And she's been here for 2 years now.
Yeah, like 2.5, like,
2.5.
not counting, it's
Yeah.
just, I started the day after my birthday, so I know. You know,
Yeah.
But, yeah, I've been here for about 2.5 years, I started my master's right before coming here, and I finished it last summer, so,
Is that library science, masters?
yes, exactly, and, yeah, it's been fun. I started the D&D program here. I have the workout bag, subscription bags for teens to sign up for. I've been getting to know some of the teens a lot more in the summer. They've been coming in and hanging out on the team off, and it's been a really good environment.
Yeah.
So the book up bag, just to be clear, she customizes book selection for kids, like they feel like, here are my interests. She keeps track of like, what has she recommended to them in the past? She fills a bag with the books and other hilarious things. And then also a note with like more books.
Yeah.
All customized for that. It must take forever. I don't know how you do it. It's incredible. It's
Yeah.
incredible.
She does this on a monthly basis.
We're big fans.
And Kristen has cultivated a dedicated following. Now, to have a dedicated following of teens
Right.
is amazing.
And our summer reading numbers are actually good, too. They're higher than last year.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Kristen's been doing a lot of great work. And she works, you know, she also does spends a lot of time in the children's room. Actually, when I came here for my secret shopper experience, Kristen was the one who brought me to the book I was looking for.
Oh.
Good.
So what can we do as the board?
Uh, Well, I would have to say exactly what Kevin said, just kind of backing us up and believing in us. We were, I mean, between Giselle and Sarah and Kevin, we were chosen to be here for a reason, and we've decided to stay here for a reason too.
Thank you.
Of course.
So back to my initial question. Does anyone think that we should have to, or we should release the names of all the items that we moved out of the archives, if they're not court sensitive?
I think we have enough reasons not to.
So no one's really in favor of doing
I don't think so.
it. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank
Well,
you,
that answers that
Kristen.
question.
Sorry, I have to
Yeah.
go. Speaks to all.
Yeah.
And understandably, if someone does submit a Freedom of Information Act, since we have, normally we don't track this information, but Dana was trying to be super careful. And in her super carefulness, she kept the document with the list.
Okay.
So normally we don't. Normally we don't keep that information. So, if we get a Freedom of Information Act request for it, as long as the document exists, we have to provide it. So, I mean, but again,
I think that's fine, right? Like a FOIA request, you have to comply with.
yeah,
Just a random, badgering email, I don't think that we need to comply with that.
And
Because I do think it sets a bad precedent, I'm sorry.
I was gonna say, I thought the information you provided about the percentage of, what was removed, I thought that was very, informative.
yeah. I didn't want to give specific numbers because the percentages didn't work out all that well.
Right, but I thought this, the general, this is good information.
Any other thoughts, suggestions, questions for Kevin while we're here before we?
I was just gonna say, do you want us to contact you about getting a tour?
Yes, actually, what I'll do is I'll send out an email to all of you, because there are others, who aren't here currently. Again, just explaining kind of what I hope to be able to provide for you, and also for you to give me an opportunity to say, I'd like mine specifically geared around X to make it relevant for you. Because, I could give a tour that you might find completely irrelevant, and, you really, all you wanted to see was the underbelly, where all the HVAC stuff is.
I want to see the sump pump.
Yeah. So,
I don't want to pull anything out of it.
yeah. But, so I'll send out an email to everyone, and, this will make it happen.
I presume summer's not a great time to roast this, vacation.
True. Yeah. Okay, I don't have anything else to.
Is there a motion to adjourn?
Yes.
Second? All in
That's
favor?
Steve, and that's what.
Anybody opposed? All right, you guys are adjourned.
It's not negotiable.
No, it's not negotiable, it's right.
Everybody's-
And we don't see each other again until September.
We may see you over. Yeah.